Well, good morning. Happy day. Um, I'm blocked from Facebook. Notice I actually got up. Let's see, I shaved, shit, and showered. Usually you're supposed to shit, shower, and shave, but I shaved first, then I needed to crap, and then I got in the shower. But I haven't brushed my hair out yet since I got out of the shower. Um, I did get treated by Joe Bird of Prey uh, to a video of the somebody who went to the Straight Pride Parade from somewhere else, and Straight Pride Parade sparks protests in Boston. Is this video as a bunch of straight guys that went there? It's a bunch of straight guys went there. I'm not sure from where, and had a wonderful time in Boston at the Straight Pride Parade, which is cool, man. That's totally cool. Um, you know, I always love it when people are having fun, and it seems a lot of people had fun in Boston at this parade. Some people were stupid and uh, got busted for it, which is good. The left has a lot of problems with reactionary, violent people, and they think it's justifiable to punch out Nazis, and it's not. The First Amendment guarantees their right to say the things that they're saying and guarantees them equal protection from assault because of their speech. That's that's the essence of the First Amendment. Um, then we can get into the Second Amendment and talk about well-regulated militias. uh, but it's an interesting conversation going on this wall. Because like it's not all these MAGA idiots that you run into all the time. Um, Most of them have like reasonable um, most of them have reasonable arguments, and there's I'm cut off from Ferguson Plain right now, um, and he's trying to communicate with me. This hurts because he's burying his daughter this week. And I don't know. Um, I'm a lot more important in his life than I realize. Um, I'm a person that he shares his confidences with, and there probably aren't many. And I can't respond to him because of a trannier than thou fucking nutcase who went off in Dr. Z's thread, and I tried to moderate it, and she went off on me and then started reporting all my comments. Can't even believe the comment I got blocked for. Wasn't even directed at her. But I've been having fun. Um, this was a funny one. Um, see, I have the way shit. Maybe there's something in the way the sub threads are real hard. They'll highlight one reply, and then there was one guy said, there wouldn't be anything if it weren't for straight people, and I can't find his reply the way it works. I can only see mine. You can see the top of the sub thread and your remark, but then you can't find whoever the fuck you're responding to. So my response to this guy was, well, thanks, man. I don't know what us transgender folk would do married to other transgender folk would ever do. I don't know what us transgender folk married to other transgender folks would ever do without you straight people. Here's another idiot. Here's one. When you tear out a man's tongue, you're not proving him a liar. You're only telling the world that you fear what he might say. But nobody's tongue got tore out. Everybody got to speak their piece, and there just weren't anywhere near as many straight white people. Here's my comment. Nobody's tongue got torn out. Everybody got to speak. Too bad the racist, sexist assholes put the show together were drowned out by all the people with any sense of real freedom or justice, which you brainwashed wage slaves lack completely. So here's a Make Socialists Cry Again 2020. So it's not bloody likely, you pathetic brainwashed fool. He'll be lucky if he makes it to next November without going to prison, unless the Democrats do something stupid like trying to nominate Harris, Booker, Biden, or Buttigieg. He's going to lose bigly. So I'm having fun this morning. Nobody here yet. Oh well, it's early. I have a late night crowd, I guess. You know, I appeal to the insomniacs. I'm up 24/7. In a way, you know, I have absolutely no set schedule. If I'm real busy, I often don't sleep more than 3 to 5 hours at a time, but I might do that twice in a 24-hour period. So I could be up at any time at all. I'm usually up around dawn. You know, and usually it's because I went to sleep earlier than, you know, if I go to sleep by midnight, I'm up well before dawn. And then I usually sleep a little bit during the day. But let me get some focus on what I want to say here. White pride and straight pride are self-defeating notions. They're clearly reactionary responses to gay pride. That is an attempt to ignore the complaint that marginalized minorities are bringing against this overwhelming majority of straight white people. And really, straight white people's grip on the majority is sliding due to a lot of reasons. Like, I probably should look that up. What's the racial makeup of America today? Okay. The racial makeup of the United States in 2019 by worldpopulationreview.com is whites will remain the single largest racial group in the US, but they will no longer be the majority. Growth in the Hispanic and Asian populations in the US is predicted to almost triple over the next 40 years. By 2015, if there's anything left of the United States, the breakdown is estimated to be 48% white, 24% Hispanic, 14% Asian, and 13% Black. Now, white people got to learn to keep their shit to themselves and not impose it on the rest of us. More power to you with your cisgender, heterosexual families with the man in charge and all that happy shit. Don't impose it on everybody else. That's really all there is. Keep your shit to yourself. Nobody's going to complain. Start making laws to force people to live according to your moral standards, you're going to get pushback. So if anybody's got any comment to that, that's pretty much what I wanted to say. I'm just here looking at things, trying to figure out how I'm going to contact Ferguson. Oh. What do we want? We want a new message, right? It, it's a okay. That's that. And still nobody said anything. Probably only have bots watching. Oh, I probably don't even have fucking proper audio, do I? I better check. How's the audio? How's the audio? Oh, good. Oh, good. I was worried about that. I'm just sitting here talking to a chipmunk for the last 20 minutes. Oh, good. So nobody has anything to say to this. I'm pretty much shot my wad. You know, I'm sure I'll run into other stuff, but until somebody else says something, I'm just sitting here reading. Get rid of that. Okay. Okay. Nobody say anything yet? No. And we lost somebody. Oh well. Probably only have a couple of bots here now. Joe said he'd be along when a regular stream that he watches is done. Um, let's go back to that video and the comments. Just mess around with that. Because there's really nothing else that I want to get involved in this morning. I'm just waiting until 9 o'clock so I can get after some people. Probably should try and contact her. Where'd it go? Tried to click on it and the wrong thing came up. Shit. Let's try that again. Just fucking crazy. I had to warn Dr. Z what she's facing with the kiwi farmers now, thanks to the flame war in her thread the other day. Okay, so here's the top comment on the Straight Pride Parade sparks protests in Boston. Do these social justice warriors, I'll spell it out since he's too lazy, realize that you don't need to be oppressed to be proud of something? I think so. What they're saying is that you're the oppressor, being proud of your oppression is what the problem is. They understand that you know uh straight white people are like a real big problem in the world and have been for a long time. Uh and that's just a fact. The way that straight white people run their society is oppressive and unfair to everybody who isn't straight and white. What's so hard about understanding that? A lot of white people are embracing the notion and doing the best they can to be good neighbors to people of color, people who are queer. What the fuck is your problem? Anyway, back to that video. Okay, I didn't want that. Where the fuck did it go? Oh, I see what I did. I need to open that. Okay, so this is a fun this subthread. My response to the OP was just ha 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 ha, what bozos. Man, I've been just interjecting in the sub in the in the subthreads. Oh, poor oppressed straight man. Being straight is the new being gay. Aw, bro flake. I'm having a lot of fun because I'm not homosexual. I mean, yeah, I probably would get it on for fun with just about anything, which would make me pansexual. But I don't get it on for anything with anybody usually anyway, and I'm looking for a heterosexual mate, either a lesbian or a trans man. Um, and you know, my point, my big point is that I'm born this way, baby. Um, and there's no excuse. There's no reason for forcing somebody like me who doesn't even look very male. I mean, it was a fucking nightmare when I was a kid because I was too pretty. I always had my body was always much more feminine and masculine. I had to hide, and it took me 20 years to find some place that was safe to just shave off the fucking beard and start behaving like myself instead of pretending. That's wrong. That's wrong. There's there aren't many of us, but to force us, to not accept us as we are, it's just totally wrong. It's against Christianity. Uh, it's against our Constitution. What the fuck is the problem? Girly guys exist, tomboys exist. Just let us be. I think it's time for a hooter. Getting down low. That's the other thing. I got to wait until 9 o'clock to call my connection. Looks like I got about one now, and two or three more after that, which will get me through to 2 in the afternoon at least without like really rationing. See, I need some help with mood stabilizing and antipsychotic. And there is nothing anybody has ever tried to prescribe to me that was safer and more effective with fewer negative side effects than weed for the behavioral health issues I need to manage chemically. Okay. Without weed, my father and I would not have survived my puberty. That's for sure. Without weed, somebody would have gotten me to kill them before now. That's also for sure. Without weed, I would have some real severe eating problems, and I've got, you know, I get kind of anorexic because I get too wound up to eat. I get too wound up to sleep. Weed. I mean, I'm a little too fat now because I smoke too much weed and don't exercise enough. But that's the only downside. I'm able to get through a day and be creative and productive, and people like the way I behave, and that's that. Weed works. My doctor knows that the weed works. I don't have any kind of psych medications that I take. If I'm having trouble sleeping, and because I'm too wound up and the weed isn't doing it, valerian, kava, melatonin, those help. Benadryl that I have around all the time for my allergies, that helps. So I don't need any of them zombie drugs that are like making people really crazy and kill themselves and others. That's one of the more common correlations between all the mass shootings is psych drugs. White Christian guys homeschooled on psych drugs is probably the most common. Why did it come up again? Okay, here's an interesting subthread. The LGBTQIAPXYZWTF alphabet soup lobby claim to be for tolerance and open-mindedness, even though their actions ironically show them to be as intolerant and closed-minded as they come. That community needs help. It also shows them as oppressed babies. I am tolerant, but then again, we do have our problems.
Hello and welcome back to No Bullshit. Today we finally get to talking about the actual Straight Pride Parade, which took place this past weekend in Boston, as most of you know. Me and my wife attended it and it was a really great time. We filmed a bunch and
There's a reason. There's a reason for this.
They probably have that thing copyrighted. I can't let it play. Ay. Let's see what else is interesting here. There's a pretty interesting conversation going on because the right wingers are total idiots and are able to communicate with the people raising objections. Let's get back to that top comment. Okay, here's one. So, do these SJWs realize you don't need to be oppressed to be proud of something? So here's YSAMO. It goes against their programming, so probably not. So to him, I said, it goes against your program to consider that they have a point.
Even talked to some people there too, and I have to say, this event was obviously a huge win and big success for everyone on our side. Many people showed up, and even more were there to.
Yeah, so here's this Dr. Spangle fellow saying, no lie, they aren't really oppressed, though law, they just want to be because in their minds it gives them an excuse to be terrible people. And I said to Dr. Spangle, tell that to the transgender person kicked out of their home for being trans, refused employment because they were trans, refused housing because they were trans, was severely beaten in the street for being trans, and on the last day of their lives, refused emergency medical care and allowed to bleed out on the gurney, ending up cremated in a potter's field. Though I don't condone the behavior, it's understandable that some young trans people are very angry and frightened and are ready to fight. Okay? It's real understandable when their own families push them out of the house and they find themselves in the street with no way of earning money except turning tricks. So don't talk to me about how we're not oppressed. Okay? I didn't even have a say in the matter when they carved on my shit at 15 months old. Not one word. When I complained that, hey, look, I'm a girl, that was not tolerated by my parents at all. And they had me shut up about it by the time I was about 6 because I didn't want to get beat up. I had to suppress innate feminine posturing, speech, movement, just so that I wouldn't be made as a girly guy. Because it was very dangerous to be anything but a straight cis male. When in 1955 or 59, when I realized I had this problem and I was going into grade school with it. Now I got through grade school okay. I didn't get bullied for that because I had a real quick left hand. I got bullied for being too smart. In high school, I started to get it for being too femmy. I had to walk pigeon-toed for about 6 months to get the swish out of my hips. But that was just anytime they saw it, they'd just come up behind me and kick me in the butt. I definitely, this is one of those days with, there's too much like intense energy on the internet for me to be around it too much without getting away. 'Cause I don't like rationing my weed. I like to keep it, I don't like to be, uh, I usually smoke a joint every 90 minutes or so through the day. And I don't like to have to stretch it out because I'm in a high stress on a high stress day because I don't have enough. Especially since I don't have any of the other support herbs at the moment. This is probably something that would be a good idea to eat some. This is one of the things I take for my allergies is local bee pollen. So back to this subthread. Okay. Am I the only one who thinks this level of trivial nonsense is nothing to be proud of? And here's millennials are the most conservative generation. Change my mind. You don't have a mind to change, pal. Here's someone with some sense, calling himself TNT Fox. It can be celebrated, but I agree that being proud of something should be because of an accomplishment, not whether you like tacos or hot dogs. Pride is one of the 7 deadly sins, not because you should never feel good about an accomplishment, but because people tend to relish in the sensation and shove it in everyone's face. That's what I hope for that. And really, that's the whole point of the queer equality movement is like, hey, look, stop making us into things that we're not. Just let us be. We're not interfering in your life. Why are you interfering in ours? All right, and here's some real typical, and this is a junior right winger. Nope, they think having a disease or problem makes you special. Equality sometimes has to involve some discomfort to people who are not diseased or have a disability. Okay, your lack of compassion, your heartlessness is just contemptible. Okay. And this is an artist. She's a animation. Lots of fairies and that kind of shit. I think I don't know, art by Fei Lee, and I know she's green haired, pointed ear things. Um, so she's going off about exceptional people and having to accommodate exceptional people because of their disease or problem. And I told her, your contemptible lack of compassion and heartlessness is showing here, Missy. Perhaps you need to suffer a little more. It would almost certainly be of great benefit to the caliber of your art. Oh, burn. Well, here's a proud white man. My Mexican teacher told me that in grade school the town was 90% Hispanic, and she said I was a privileged majority, and white people cannot have pride due to never being oppressed. I just said, we haven't been oppressed before. That's awesome. That's a good thing. We must have done something correct. Yeah, you were better at oppressing everybody. Now you're just a bunch of suckers. Yeah, here's she's saying some. Oh, did that even post? Oh yeah, so here's one. People for social justice are retarded people for civil human and for civil here. This guy's like calling people retarded and he can't even write a coherent sentence. People for social justice are retarded people. For civil and human rights are fine. The people are protesting are all SJWs, and I can see the need for pride parades for all genders. And my response to him was, in enlightened cities, Pride Month is a celebration for people of all sexual orientations and gender expression. That's what Pride is really supposed to be about at its core, a celebration of equality won in the struggle since Stonewall on June 28, 1969. People like the organizers of the Straight Pride Parade feel left out because they're such bigots. They can't accept the existence of queers on the same planet as themselves at all because we threaten the fragile hold they have on their own toxic masculinity. That's my catchphrase of the week is toxic masculinity. Aggression is something that testosterone seems to drive, and our whole society is fear conditioned. into obeying authorities that require us to overrule our instincts, which causes huge amounts of cognitive dissonance. And we end up lashing out at others instead of addressing the real problem within ourselves and at the pinnacle of at the top of the food chain in human society. Those people need to be like removed from power. Their control over the world's resources is very harmful to the planet. The planet's rejecting it, and it's going to kill us if we do not take out the Rothschild Morgan cartel, the New World Order, multinational industrialist banker gangsters. If we do not neutralize them, if we do not get them to retool immediately, we're all dead within 15 years, or most of us. Well, not even most of us. There will be at least a 50% wipeout of humanity by 2050 if we do not stop immediately. We need to just stop burning shit. We have to stop powering everything we have by combustion. It's not killing the planet. It's upsetting the balance of nature to where the planet is going to react with catastrophic surface changes in a lot of regions. There's going to be new mountain ranges. There's going to be lots of things that are underwater that weren't. And it's all going to, these things are coming anyway over time. The Yellowstone caldera, for instance, I don't know the exact numbers, but it has blown on the average every X number of years. And right now, we're plus or minus 15,000 years from when it's due. Okay? According to the average, which means it could blow any day. And it will eventually blow again, because that's the way the planet is. This is not, there's nothing really stable about a molten rock that's enveloped in water so that it has a thin crust of solidified rock spinning around in outer space. There's just nothing that is going to keep it the same through eons of travel through space. I mean, just the nature of a molten rock that's in a bubble of water in a big vacuum. Okay, that's just the way molten rocks that are spinning in a big vacuum encased in a bubble of water. I mean, it's a very difficult experiment to reproduce in a laboratory, but that's the fact of what we're sitting on here is a molten rock that is encased in water. Okay, the atmosphere is water and space, pretty much, and some gases we can breathe. And the planet spent a lot of time taking the carbon dioxide and sulfur, the sulfur hydroxide, and what else? The nitrogen, nitric acid and shit out, the heavy nitrogen, all the nasty stuff out of the air. It took, planet spent a long, long time getting it out of the air and buried in the ground. And here we are in the last 200 years digging it all up and spewing it back in the atmosphere. That ain't real bright. Okay? So we got any climate deniers, climate change deniers in the audience today? Oh, look at here. We got some people talking. Neon Goblin, hello. Pride in general never made much sense to me. Ha! Zen Master, give it a rest, man. That's ridiculous. Give it a rest. I'm not buying into that. Now I don't know. Now California trans people do enjoy. Most trans people in California do enjoy better living circumstances than most other places. There are some places, the Ohio River Valley, for instance, you know, the Bible thumpers and the good old boys, the rednecks, it's just really horrible. They were you know, in Kentucky a couple of years ago, and I don't even think this person was transgender. She was just a bull dyke and was wearing leathers and shit and short hair, and she's walking down the street and she got jumped by a good old boy. Said, "You're gonna, you know, you're gonna dress like a man. You should be get beat down by like a man." And they did, and the onlookers cheered them on. There's in, I don't know. I'd have to look. There are not many states that actually have equality laws protecting gender identity. There are not. So even though in California it may appear that they got it pretty good, they actually can still be discriminated against in the workplace and in housing and stuff like that. And there's really not that much community support from within the, you know, there's very little transgender infrastructure anywhere. And even the LGBT, the general full spectrum infrastructure is lacking in most cities. You know, big cities only. It's about, you know, anybody in the smaller the town you are, the farther you're going to have to travel for healthcare and community, and really, okay, Hobo the Clown. The white pride or straight pride, the organizers of this are a bunch of dipshits. Okay, gay pride, you know, Pride Month, LGBTQ pride, is all inclusive. You know, straight people are welcome there. Come party with us. And it's a celebration of equality and autonomy. You know, personal autonomy. That's what it is. So yeah, there's a lot of like really outlandish stuff that goes on, but the core of the community, the core of the LGBT community, is just like, we're just transgender people or same-sex attracted people that are the same as the rest of you. Okay, we got the same interests, same dislikes, same likes. We're just, some of us are same-sex attracted, and some of us are transgender. And the people that can't accept that are trying to have these pride parades, and that's what's self-defeating. It just isolates them some more. Is all that is. No, I'm not saying that all straight people are bigots. I'm not saying that all the people doing it are bigots. Not at all. Not at all. No, I'm saying that the premise is kind of bigoted, and definitely the organizers are a bunch of racist assholes, racist and sexist assholes. You know, you're token queer at that thing. You know, come on, Milo. No. That the whole concept was ridiculous. But no, pride is not, maybe is not the right word. I don't know. For me, it's always been about equality. That everybody deserves to be themselves, however they want to be themselves, as long as they're not hurting anybody else. That's the way I was raised. I grew up in Lakeview in Chicago, which is the only really fully integrated neighborhood in that town. We had everything. We never had riots in the gay component of the neighborhood because they didn't raid their clubs. It wasn't illegal to be queer. You know, we'd have big parties in the park, man. Saturday, you ever heard of BNs in Chicago? They started about 1963 and probably still go on today to some extent. Is that, well, people just, you know, on a nice day, people just swarm Lincoln Park down around Belmont because that was a feeder spot. There was a harbor there. There were buses coming past it from the west and into Lincoln Park on the weekends. There'd be like thousands and thousands of people. There'd be multiracial drum circles get together to have 40, 50 drummers and hundreds of people gathered around stomping. big, big picnics and shit, potluck picnics. This is what. Uh, no, Hobo the Clown. I see you guys, but I'm sometimes get distracted. I didn't realize there were so many people speaking, and I don't see any of my moderators here yet. One of them is watching. No, bulldogs aren't kosher. No, no. Here's what we're talking about here. Yeah, somebody they're liking this one. I've told somebody the rich you refer to are all poor in spirit, and anybody who isn't ultra rich is just a sleepwalking idiot, suckered into living the American dream. And then I give him George Carlin's. Oh, I'm pissed. I've already bombed this twice. I've been invaded by roaches from next door. When they moved out, they just and cleaned out the apartment. The roaches all came here. And I haven't been able to, 3 weeks now that the landlord hasn't replied. So anyway, Hobo, not all, my strongest allies are straight. It's about love and acceptance rather than fear and loathing. That you need to learn to recognize that someone else is not the same as you, but it's cool. It's okay. You're not like me. You should be learning and teaching each other about yourselves rather than trying to stigmatize the other or change them. Celebrate the diversity. Milo is a raging fag, man, and he's kind of a pedophile too. Milo is just Milo is Milo. He's not a credible speaker. He's just like he's a gay guy, a bottom, I think. I don't know. I don't care. That's Milo. He's a right wing. The gay Republicans. Okay. Or even a gay Democrat, a gay corporate Democrat like Pete Butthead. For bottoms for the man. They like taking it up the butt from the mighty white guy that's got the big bank account. These people are not to be trusted. I'm telling you, the mainstream of the queer equality movement is people that are just like you, except that we're queer. We have the same wants, we have the same needs, we have the same likes, we have the same dislikes. We're just queer. Get over it already. So, some men are attracted to other men, and some women are attracted to other women, and some people with penises turn out to be women, and some people with vaginas turn out to be men. What's so difficult to understand about that and accept it? Could somebody please? Nobody's ever really given me a decent answer to that question. I was born this way. I was totally born this way, and my life has been a fucking horror just for being the way I was born. Why do we let that go on? Let's see what else is happening while you guys think about that. This one's funny. Here's Dr. Spangle. I'm live now, Dr. Spangle. Here. Okay, so here's Dr. Spangle. Give me multiple links to multiple incidents, please, if you can, because it's illegal to discriminate based on gender, religion, race, and age when it comes to a job. So if this did happen, I'm fairly certain it was done illegally and it's an isolated event that isn't the socially accepted norm. Don't pull one thing of your ass and think of, because of that, it's an epidemic plaguing the nation as a whole when it's not. The fuck you say? You and people like you are just wanting something else to bitch about. There aren't people getting beaten in the street for being trans on a regular basis. The fuck there aren't. There was even one in June here. It was the first one in 6 years. And then I found out there was another fag bashing just last week. So fuck that shit, dude. And if someone has been beaten in the street, no matter what you are, it's illegal, and cops aren't just looking the other way. The fuck you say? There are cops that abuse transgender people that are victims. Many places, transgender people won't go to the cops when they're beaten. Don't want anything to do with that shit because the cops treat them worse. There is, however, a large amount of violence committed towards conservatives and a huge effort to silence them at any and all events. Boo-hoo. So, Dr. Spangle, it's not. It is happening all over the country. I suspect that you are economically advantaged enough that you aren't exposed to it. I would encourage you to contact Rachel Rose Lukey, who is a minor municipal official in LA. The California PFLAG, GLAAD, and NCTE, that's Parents and Family of Lesbian and Gay People. And that's the Gay, Lesbian, and who knows something or other, and National Center for Transgender Equality. They will all have records proving what I'm asserting here. There are very few states. Let me find it. Let me get the stats for you. There's very few states that with gender identity protection. Very few. Everything that there's 21 that protect against both sexual orientation and gender identity discrimination. That means more than half the states. It can happen, and it does. And the states that, of the states that are mentioned, California, Colorado, Connecticut, let's get this up, the whole thing. The states that are mentioned, where's that list? Yeah, well, here. It happens all over America. There are states where it's like it's not illegal. But any kind of one, I'm getting asked about, well, aren't black pride and brown pride and all that other pride and bigotry and shit. Anything that is not embracing equality for all, that does not celebrate the diversity of America, anything that is trying to convert anybody else to your own way of thinking and your own way of being is divisive and counterproductive and self-defeating. Personally, I believe in a positive racism, that people of all stripes, all economic, any color, any creed, any economic status, any status of ablement, anything, that all people should only be judged on the merit of their words and deeds, nothing else. It doesn't matter how much money you have. It's what kind of person are you and what do you do with that money? Just because you're rich doesn't make you ugly. Just because you're white doesn't make you ugly. Just because you're straight doesn't make you ugly. Just because you're black, any of that. Your heart, what you do with the energy of the sun and the material of the earth, with your life, with your hands, what you do with that is what makes you a good or bad person. Most of the, things like your color, your skin color, and your sexual orientation and gender feelings, these are things you're born with. They're things that you build on. I mean, yeah, it's social construct, but they're things you're born on. They're potentials that nature provides you at birth, and we build on that. And nobody should be judged on the merit of anything else but their words and deeds. And I'm seeing it's getting late. I need to get doing some other things that I don't want to do on camera. And I want to thank you for the interesting questions and hope to see you all again. Happy day. Bye-bye.